Hello, friends. All right, I am so excited to dive in with you. Today, we are going to talk about how to plan your month, the four really crucial elements that you need in order to plan a month with focus and clarity. Before we dive in, though, I just want to talk for a second about why we do plan before we dive into the month ahead. And I just want you to be able to give yourself a little time to reflect on the month that you've just come out of before you run headfirst into the month that's coming up. It's very easy to just go from one to the other without thinking about what you need, what your family needs, maybe how the last month was, where you're at mentally, emotionally, spiritually. But all of these things are absolutely going to affect the next month ahead of us, right? So it's really kind of important that we stop and think about each one of those issues before we dive into a brand new month. We want to take stock of how we are doing, how our family's doing, so that we can get some clarity on what we actually need to protect and make important in the month ahead. So, here at Anchored Women, we like to walk through a process that we call reflect and refresh, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today as we get into those four things that we really want to encourage you to include in your monthly planning. All right, let's dive in. So the first thing that we want to start with, I've got my planner here to show you. The first thing we want to start with is really our monthly schedule. All right. You're going to take some time to write out everything that is going on in the month ahead, your appointments, your events. Every now and then, if I have a crazy busy month coming up, I like to write this out on a piece of paper first, or maybe I just print out an extra calendar and I write it out really quickly myself so that I can see visually what needs to stay and what goes. The great thing about writing it out right into your planner is that you can see where you have margin and where you really don't have margin. And margin is absolutely one of those things that we want to protect going into any month of the year. So write out your appointments and your schedule first. That way you have a really good idea of what the month is going to hold already. And then when we get down to finding our focus of the month and things like that, you're much more able to say, yes, this needs to stay, or you know what, I need to move this to another month, or just say no for now so that I can protect something else that's more important. So I like to use the 2-page spread for this. If you have the SOS planner, we also include a single page calendar. You can use either one, totally up to you. So first, that's step one. You're going to write out your schedule, your appointments, your everything, so that on 1 page or 2 pages, you absolutely have a visual of what the month is going to look like. All right. Our next step is going to be writing out a list of meal ideas. I do this once a month, and I write out a list of ideas for dinner, breakfast, lunches, and snacks. Now, this is not a monthly meal plan. It is not. This is an ideas list. That's it. And I always start here with my dinners. And to begin, I write down our family favorites, the things I know I'm going to make each month. Maybe our seasonal favorites, what is easy for me to make, what I know my family loves, and what I likely have ingredients for on hand. We don't need to start from scratch every single month. You know that there's stuff that your family likes. Write it down. Put it on your meal ideas list. All right. Then I will, grab some new recipes, either from our Anchored Life Club recipes or one of my favorite cookbooks, and I'll jot those down on here as well. Same for breakfast, lunches, and snacks. This, like I said, is an ideas list. which serves you really well. I mean, take 10 minutes to write down all your ideas for meals this month. And then when you get to your weekly planning, it's so much easier to figure out what meals you want to have that week, because all you have to do, instead of referencing all your cookbooks and Pinterest and things like that, all you have to do is come back to this page as a reference point for your meals for the month. You already did the hard work of thinking through what you're going to cook for your family this month, and then you just have to come back to this page and reference it each week during the month. All right, so number 1 was writing out our schedule. Number 2 is making a list of meal ideas for the month. Number 3 is making plans for your home and your heart. This is an area where I think that we can very easily skip. Like, we might think, oh, it's not very important to make plans for my home. Oh, I don't have time to make plans for myself. But this is one of the most important things that I think you will start thinking through as you're planning the month ahead, because this is really the day-to-day part of life that just is very easily feels overwhelming. Okay, if you're not making the plans that you know that you need to in your home, or that you need in order to make sure that you are taken care of, you're going to hit burnout. You're going to hit overwhelm so much faster. So we focus on 4 areas, 2 for the home and 2 for the heart. So for your home, we focus on projects first. What are the projects that you need to get done, or that you want to get done in your home this month? It really can be anything, but I like to take a walk around my house and just check out, like, okay, I really could declutter this room, or, I need to, like right now, I need to switch out my clothes for the next season, that sort of thing. So I'm going to write those down in this project space. Then down below, I want you to think through your chore schedule for the month. Some people like to focus on one area of their house each week. Some people like to focus on one area of their house each day. It's really up to you. But the point is that when we're sitting down to do this monthly planning, we're thinking it through first. We're making these decisions ahead of time to save our future selves a lot of stress and overwhelm. All right. So projects, and then your chore schedule. Then we get to the heart plans. And there are 2 aspects of heart plans that I really want you to focus on. The first is rest. You were created to rest. You are not created to be productive all the time. And if you push yourself too hard, if you focus on productivity over anything else, like I said before, you're going to burn out. I know this very well. This is a lesson that I have learned the hard way. And so I really want you to think through, how are you going to rest this month? Are you going to spend a little time reading each day? Are you going to take a trip with your husband? Are you going to just go out to coffee with a friend? It really can be anything that fills you up. It does not have to be expensive. It doesn't have to cost any money at all. But I want you to think about how you're going to incorporate rest that you need into your life in the month ahead. All right. Then our last section is connection. We were also made for relationship, and we can very easily in our culture just keep going without stopping to really cultivate our friendships, our marriage, our relationships with our kids. And so this is a spot for you to stop and think through a few different ways that you are really going to connect with your kids, with your husband, with your friends each month. Now, if you're a part of our Anchored Life Club membership, then you know that we provide you with some ideas for these every single month. We give you an different ideas that correspond with the actual month for connecting, like I said, with your husband, with your kids, with your friends, and through service. So if you need a place to start, that's a great place to start. Just grabbing some ideas. And then I want you to do something with the 2 sections for rest and connection. I want you to not just leave them on this page. I want you to go put them on your calendar, because we all know if it's not on the calendar, it's probably not going to happen. And what was the point of planning it anyway, right? So we're going to take however we're going to rest and however we're going to connect with our people. And maybe you just want to use this as a brain dump space and then pick like one or two things. That's fine. But think through how you're going to do this, what's realistic for you in this season, and then take a couple of those and put them on your monthly calendar or even into your weekly calendar. But like, write it down, get it on there, make that commitment to yourself so that you are already protecting the time around resting and connecting with your people. All right, we've been through 3 things: our schedule, our meal ideas, and our home and heart plans. All right, the very last one takes a little bit longer, but really is kind of the clincher when it comes to planning a focused month. And that is starting the month with our reflect and refresh process, like I talked about earlier. All right, so your reflect and refresh process really helps you find a focus for the month. Here are the questions that we ask each month. You'll see in the SOS planner, there's a page already for this. If you don't have our planner, I'll include the link down below, but you can also do this on a notebook, paper, or anything you want, right? So, we have a reflect and refresh process at the top, and then we're going to get into goal setting in just a minute here. This is all part of the same process, finding your focus for the month and then setting your goals for the month. So when we have a minute to reflect on the month that we just came from, we want to ask ourselves a few questions. What was last month like? How is my physical health? How is my spiritual health? How is my mental health? And what is the state of my home? Okay, we give you space to write all of these things down right here and just really think through how you're doing, how last month affected you, how it affected your home. All of these things really matter when it comes to what we decide to put into the month ahead, right? So we reflected on those things, and then we're going to dive into some insightful questions about what the needs are in your home right now. So the first question is, what does my family need going into this month? And what do I need going into this month? All right. If you just came from a really busy month, you likely need to incorporate some more rest time. Maybe you came from a month that was really open and you feel energized and ready to start a new project or serve others in a different way, and you want to make the next month a little more full and with like some great ideas. Everything is really going to depend on the month that you're coming out of as you craft the month that you're walking into. All right. I have a little reminder that I've written here that I always want us to remember, because as we answer all of these questions, our goal is to find our focus for the month. So I just wrote down as a reminder, there are many things that need our attention, but we are only one person, and you have to decide what is most important right now. So as you're thinking through your focus for the month, based on what last month was like, what your health is like, what your mental, physical, emotional, spiritual health is like, what the state of your home is like, what you need and what your family need going into this month, only then can you really narrow down a focus. And I like to encourage you to just stick with one focus, and it might be a big one. For example, my focus this month is actually building connection with my family. The month that just passed was a big work month for us. And so I spent a lot of time in my office. I spent a lot of time on my computer, even when I was around my kids. And so I understand that moving from a busy month like that into this next month, I need to focus more on my relationship with my children. We homeschool, so they're with me all the time. Give a little more attention to my relationship with my husband, and hopefully connect with my friends on, for a coffee night or meeting up for breakfast or something where I can prioritize the relationships that likely, suffered a little bit last month as my work was really intense. So this is what I'm talking about when you figure out kind of like what you're coming out of and what you're going into, and finding a focus for that period of time. It's a little bit about balance, right? I know balance can seem like a scary word and something we can never achieve, but I really do think that it is important for us to kind of take stock of what is going really well and what is challenging, and be able to find a balance to nurture each of the things that God has given us. Maybe not all at once, because we are just, human, normal people who can't, like, we have limits, we can't do everything, but being able to nurture these different parts of our life, including our own self, at a reasonable, pace. Okay. All right. So you've done the reflect and refresh process. You've found your focus. The second part of this focus and goals step is setting your goals for the month. So you'll see on here that we like to focus on 2 different types of goals each month, one of each. Okay. We start with our project goal. Our project goal is a goal that has a very specific start and end date. All right. It might even be the same day. So a project goal is something that is self-contained. You can very easily begin it and end it. And once I'm done with it, it's done. So an example would be cleaning out your closet, or organizing your laundry room. Okay. Something that is not ongoing. It has a specific, like I said, start and end. Okay. When we have project goals like that, we're just going to pick one for the month. One project goal. That's it. And we're going to use our space here to divide it into 4 different steps. We break it down, okay? Because saying something like, I'm going to clean out my master closet, feels incredibly overwhelming, especially if your closet looks like mine. So instead, we're going to break it down into steps. For example, I'm going to sort through the clothes that I have and get rid of anything that doesn't fit. Step 1. Step 2, I'm going to organize by color. Step 2. Step 3 is, I'm going to take my donations to somewhere else, Goodwill or whatever. All right. And then we have habit goals. We have our habit goals down here at the bottom. And your habit goal is one habit that you are focusing on developing this month. All right. Maybe it's doing your morning Bible study. Maybe it's tracking your food or tracking your water intake or things like that. But a habit goal is something that you are doing on an ongoing basis that you want to track daily. All right. So you're going to write down your habit goal. So you have your project goal already. You're going to write down your habit goal. And I encourage you to anchor your habit goal to something. For example, maybe if you're going to track your food every time you eat, you also open your phone and write down what, track on your phone what you've had for that meal. If you're doing your Bible study, maybe as soon as you take a shower in the morning, you're going to do your Bible study right after. Anchor that habit goal to something so that it's not just like floating around out there. You're never going to make it a habit if it's not connected to something that you're already doing. All right. And then we have this space on the bottom to help you track it all month long. You can use anything that you want to track. But having just 2 goals a month, one that's a project goal and one that's a habit goal, really helps you focus in on those things that are super important to you to accomplish this month. When we put all of our energy in one direction, we make so much more progress than if we split our energy up between, 8 different goals that we're trying to work on in the next month, and then we get overwhelmed and then we don't do anything. So let's keep it simple. Just one goal, one project goal, and one habit goal. And I promise you're going to see that you make way more progress than you do if you, try and split your energy between 17 different things. All right, so the 4 steps to clear, strong monthly planning. We start with your schedule, right? We start with your schedule, and then we're going to write down some monthly meal ideas. After that, we're going to dive into your home and your heart plans for the month. And then to wrap everything up and tie it up with a pretty bow or a focused bow, we're going to find your focus for the month based on how you're doing, how your family's doing, what you guys need, what your home needs in this month ahead, and then setting some goals that go along with your focus so that you are making progress on the things that are most important to you. All right, friends, I hope this was really helpful. You can use this process with any planner that you have. If you want to grab the SOS planner, the process is already prompted out for you, written into every single monthly prep for every month of the year. I'll make sure that that link is below in case you want to pick it up. But I hope that this was helpful and that you have some inspiration as you go into planning your month ahead. Bye, friends.